各位电视机前面的观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎来到南加州麦哲伦500栏目组现场。我们今天来到了孟加拉国的招商会，我们请我们这位 Mr. Raymond 给我们讲解一下。Mr. Raymond, what is the event today?
Well, we are here for state of Bangladesh is visiting United States for investment presentation and opportunities. So it's been a great opportunity today. We heard a great presentation from His Excellency, and it's a big opportunity for also between Bangladesh and U.S. to work together. And most importantly, what we heard is that Bangladesh is opening up for international community, for investments, for joint ventures, for multiple reasons that you are here to celebrate for Bengali people.
Could you give us a little bit introduction yourself?
Yes, I am a founder of Asia Economic Institute and Africa Economic Development Institute. I'm here to represent the Asia Economic Institute for welcoming one of the Asian countries who is visiting U.S. today.
Thank you so much.
谢谢.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Southern California, Magellan500. Today we have Republic Bangladesh, the business meeting. So we have Mr.
Salman F. Rahman, the private sector industry and investment advisor to Honorable Prime Minister.
Could you tell us about the event today?
Yes, today we had a seminar where I gave a presentation on the investment opportunities in Bangladesh. We had a lot of American investors who are interested in investing in Bangladesh. We have some business people who have already invested in Bangladesh, and a lot of Bangladeshi American persons who have either already invested or interested in investing in Bangladesh.
We are the Chinese community. Could you tell us about what's Bangladesh and relationship with China?
Bangladesh relationship with China is very good. There is a lot of Chinese investment also in Bangladesh, and between Bangladesh and China there is a good trade relationship. In fact, recently Bangladesh Prime Minister went to China, and we met with His Excellency the President of China, President Xi, and the Prime Minister Li of China. And the relationships are very good, and there's a lot of trade and business between China and Bangladesh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In California, Magellan500. Today we have a Bangladesh event today. So what's your name?
My name is Priyato Shaha. I am the Consul General of Bangladesh in Los Angeles.
What kind of event it is today?
This event is actually captioned as the ease of doing business and the investment climate in Bangladesh. Our Honorable Private Industry and Investment Advisor to Honorable Prime Minister has come here to speak about the audience, and we have more than 150 foreign and Bangladesh American investors here, and to speak about the audience about the business climate of Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, you know, now investment-friendly government is ruling the country, and our government is giving golden opportunity for the foreign investors, foreign businessmen, and there is lots of financial and non-financial privileges are now prevailing in Bangladesh, and he has given, the Honorable Advisor has given a beautiful presentation over the audience. Everybody lauded his presentation, and many investors showed their interest to go to Bangladesh for investment and business. I hope this event encourage the people of California, the investors of California, businessmen of California to think for their next destination to Bangladesh.
We are the Chinese community. Could you say something about the relationship between Bangladesh and China?
Bangladesh and China has a very good friendly relationship. In this month, our Prime Minister visited China, and lots of agreements and MOUs signed between the China. China is building one of our major bridges. China Major Bridge Company is building our largest Padda Bridge. At the same time, China is building one of the port in our country, and many Chinese investors, they are investing in export processing industry zones, and they are in energy sector, they are in garments manufacturing sector, and many other sectors. Lots of Chinese investors are now looking towards China, towards our country, because in our countries we have a population dividend. Most of the population lies in the age of 16 to 45, and we have a cheap labor, we have cheap energy, we have cheap power, and we have cheap even living cost. So the investors are going to Bangladesh to explore their destination here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Magellan500. What is the event today?
Actually, hello, my name is Parveen Sultana. I live in Los Angeles and I'm an entrepreneur. I do medical supply business and nationwide, all over the country. And I'm here today because we have one of the political leader came from Bangladesh, and we hear everyone to give him a warm welcome. So that's why we're all here tonight.
How do you know this event?
Because we are Bangladeshi, that's why we know the Consul General of Bangladesh, he invite us because we are the businessmen. We are doing business in California. I have a fine dining Indian restaurant which his name is Anarbag. Last month I selected the #1 in Southern California. So everybody welcome to come to my restaurant. It's named the Anarbag Fine Dining Indian Cuisine.
What's your expectation for tonight?
Well, so far it's so good because the presenter, Mr. Rahman, has presented a wonderful presentation regarding the Bangladeshi economic setup now, the infrastructure. And me and my company is planning to make some investment based on those projections, and we'll consider all the things that he has mentioned. And it's been a pleasure, and we have been invited in this event, and it's a wonderful event, and I hope everybody enjoyed it, and looking forward for more investment in Bangladesh, and the infrastructure is really improved. Thank you so much.
Counselor of Bangladesh Consulate in Los Angeles. I have the honor to welcome you all to this business and investment seminar. His Excellency Salman F. Rahman, Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, will grace the occasion as chief guest. Norman Arikawa of Port of Los Angeles, Mason Yost of the US-Bangladesh Business Forum, Raymond Mobris of the Asia Economic Institute, and Dr. Kali Pradeep Chaudhary of the KPC Group has consented to be the special guests. Consul General of the Consulate General of Bangladesh, Priyatosh Saha, will preside over the function. May I now request the Chair to please come to the dais along with the Honorable Chief Guest and special guests. I'm informed that Raymond Morris and Kali Pradeep Chaudhary are on their way to this venue. All right, we go to the business directly. May I now call upon the Chair, Honorable Consul General, to deliver his address of welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saha.
Assalamualaikum. His Excellency Mr. Salman Rahman, MP, Honorable Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh and the Chief Guest of the today's event. Mr. Norman Arikawa, Assistant Director, Trade Development, Port of Los Angeles, and the special guest of the today's event. Mr. Mason Yos, past President of US-Bangladesh Business Forum, the only US-Bangladesh Business Forum here, and the special guest of the today's event. Two more special guests, they are now on the way. They called me due to traffic and the period of Mexican community, they cannot reach in time. I think within 5 to 10 minutes they will reach. They are Mr. Ramon Mobridge, the CEO of Portfolio Securitization Capital Group and the President of the Asia Economic Institute, and Mr. Kali Pradeep Chaudhary, the business magnate of USA, Chair of KPC Group and the investor worldwide. First, I would like to offer my thanks to Honorable Chief Guest for his kind presence in this August weather. I also offer my thanks to special guests for being present here and inspiring us. In the audience, I like to recognize the Honorable Mrs. Swarna Gunaratne, Consul General of Sri Lanka, the Honorable Abdul Majid, Denishar, Consul General of Afghanistan, officers from Los Angeles Police Department and Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, Mr. George B. Chiringa, Professor of University of Southern California, respected veteran freedom fighters of Bangladesh, Liberation War 1971, respected representatives from US Bangladesh Business Forum, respected political leaders of California State Awami League and its allied organizations and partner organizations named California State Yuva League, California State Mahila Awami League, California State Chhatra League, and Bangabandhu Parishad. Journalists of Little Bangladesh Press Club and journalists of NDTV and journalists from US and Bangladesh media. Member of American businessman community and my beloved expatriate Bangladesh community members and all other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. We are all delighted for the kind presence of our today's chief guest, His Excellency Mr. Salman Rahman MP, Honorable Private Industry and Investment Advisor to Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. We are gathered here to listen to his valuable speech on the private industry and foreign investment climate of Bangladesh. How this climate is comfortable for the foreign investors and expatriate Bangladesh community who are thinking for investment in their home country. His Excellency Mr. Salman Rahman is a legendary personality of Bangladesh who paved the road for the industries and private sector growth in Bangladesh. Still, he is guiding the industrial and economic sector in the right direction, for which we could achieve a steady above 7% GDP growth for the last 1 decade. We got our independence under the leadership of our beloved father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, in 1971. Bangabandhu's dream was to establish Golden Bengal, which would be free of poverty and oppression. With this view, he started the journey towards establishing a developed nation, but unfortunately, he was assassinated in August 15, 1975. We lost our father, we lost our leader. After his assassination, the country started flowing in backward direction. After a long time, under the visionary leadership of Bangabandhu's daughter, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the nation has started materializing Bangabandhu's dream of building Golden Bengal with a view to achieving people's socio-economic emancipation and establishing a poverty and hunger-free society. Bangladesh is now a role model for success in all socio-economic sectors like education, health, gender, women empowerment, and overall development. Bangladesh, under the current leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has embarked upon an ambitious journey towards achieving the status of middle-income country by 2021 and developed country by 2041. As we have embarked upon an ambitious journey of materializing the vision 2041 through the achievement of the SDGs by 2030, we require huge foreign direct investment, expansion of trade, and transfer of latest technologies for enhancing competitiveness. We are now offering the most liberal investment climate, including incentives both financial and non-financial. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh is now a fertile land for business, investment and tourism. We are all eagerly waiting to listen from our chief guest and we learn how an entrepreneur can explore the golden opportunity remaining in Bangladesh. I will not go far, but just giving a short bio of Honorable Advisor. Sir, I have already mentioned that he is a legendary personality both nationally and internationally. His Excellency Salman Fazlur Rahman, prominently known as Salman al-Rahman, is a Bangladeshi industrialist and philanthropist. He is the co-founder and vice chairman of Beximco Group, one of the largest business conglomerates in Bangladesh. In 2018, he participated in the national election from Dhaka 1, Dohar and Nawabganj Upazilas and was elected as a member of parliament. At present, he is holding the rank of cabinet minister and serving as the private sector industry and investment advisor to Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. His visionary steps over the years have significantly contributed in shaping up the country's business and economic growth. His Excellency Salman Fazlur Rahman has a colorful background and is a remarkable personality to be followed by all entrepreneurs. He joined into family business in mid-1960s. In 1972, he along with his brother Ahmed Shuhail Bashir Rahman founded Bangladesh Export and Import Company Limited, Beximco. As Beximco has grown over the years, it is now one of the largest private sector industrial conglomerates in Bangladesh, with Salman Rahman as its vice chairman. This conglomerate has operations and investments across a wide range of industries, including textiles, pharmaceuticals, trading, marine food, real estate development, construction, information and communication technologies, media, ceramics, financial services, and energy. Beximco Pharma was listed as the first Bangladeshi company in the alternative investment market of London Stock Exchange. Beximco is also the largest employer in the private sector in Bangladesh and employs over 70,000 people worldwide. With clear vision and determination, Salman Rahman not only achieved growth and expansion of Beximco Group, but also changed the dynamics of Bangladesh's business sector. His contributions in developing the private sector in the early stage of the country just after independence were of vital importance. His Excellency Salman Rahman is guiding the current private industry, investment and business sector of Bangladesh in the right direction. He is holding key positions of many organizations of the country. He is the chairman of the Board of Governors of Bangladesh Enterprise Institute, a leading think tank engaged in advocacy for Bangladesh promoting the interests of the private sector of the country. He is the chairman of the Board of Editors of the Independent, one of the leading daily English language newspapers published from Dhaka. He is also the chairman of Independent Television and 24 Hours News Channel. He is the chairman of Avoni Limited, country's premier sporting club. In the past, he served as the president of Bangladesh Association of Pharmaceutical Industries. He was the president of SARC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is the apex trade organization of the SARC region. He was also the president of Federation of Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FBCCI, Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Dhaka, MCCI, Bangladesh Textile Mills Association, BTMA, as well as Bangladesh Association of Publicly Listed Companies. By this time, Mr. Raymond Mapres reached here. I welcome him and request him to take his seat. Not only in industry, business or investment, His Excellency Salman Rahman is also engaged in lots of social work for development of socio-economic and education sector of Bangladesh. He is a patron of Prayash, a special institute that works for the holistic development of children with special educational needs. He highly emphasizes on creating an educated nation to lead the way to social and economic progress. He has always been contributing to the development of educational institutions in his locality, that is Duhar and Noabganj, to facilitate modern computer education in support of building a digital Bangladesh. He provided free computers to all the high schools at Duhar. He is regularly making charity contributions through Bonashamantya Samstha for the educational development of unprivileged people. Since 2006, he has been providing yearly grants to Economics Department of Dhaka University. Distribution of free medicines and clothing is one of his frequent charitable works for the society. He installed more than 140 arsenic-free tubes and also started a free medical assistance program for the people of Bangladesh. I mentioned he is the chairman of the ABA, the most popular sports organization of Bangladesh. Not only he is secretary of Abahoni, he is also a great supporter and promoter of sports in Bangladesh. He regularly sponsors various sports events, players and teams. Maximco was the official sponsor of Bangladesh national cricket team for ICC Cricket World Cup 2011. He also organized and sponsored the FIFA friendly match in Dhaka between Argentina and Nigeria in September 2011. Finally, last but not the least, he is the bosom friend of our beloved young leader, Sheikh Kamal, whom we tragically lost in the dark night of August 15, 1975. We find the image and courage of Sheikh Kamal within our reverend advisor, Sir, His Excellency Salman Fazlur Rahman. Now I request His Excellency Salman Fazlur Rahman, Honorable Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister, to speak over the audience. His Excellency Salman Fazlur Rahman. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, especially to our Consul General of Bangladesh mission in Los Angeles, and to our special guest, Mr. Ignatius of the US-Bangladesh Business Forum, Mr. Norman Arikawa, Port of Los Angeles, Raymond Mohted of Director Asia Economic Institute, and Mr. Khalid Pradeep Chaudhary, Chairman of the KPC Group. I am extremely grateful to all of you that you have taken the time out to be with us this evening, especially since it is Sunday and it's a holiday. In spite of that, you found the time to be here. I'm very, very grateful to all of you. What I'll do is I'll give a short presentation, about 20 minutes, on the investment opportunities in Bangladesh. And then I'll take a few questions, and then I think we can all have dinner. So, So the dream of, as the Honorable Consul General mentioned, the dream of the father of our nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was to build a Sonar Bangla, which in English literally means a golden Bangladesh. And as you know, we lost him, unfortunately, in the dark night of 15th August in 1975. But during the 3 years he was in power after our independence, he laid the foundation of how Bangladesh should progress in future. In every aspect of progress, our father of the nation laid down a way forward for us. Unfortunately, since we lost him, his plans were not implemented for a long time until his able daughter, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, came to power as Prime Minister first in 1996 and then in 2008. Could you please keep quiet while I'm speaking? Thank you. The Honorable Prime Minister, his able daughter, she came to power first in 1996, and then again in 2008, and she was again in 2014, and then when we had elections in 2018, this is the third consecutive term and the fourth term that she has been in power. And under her able leadership, we are now in the process of realizing the dream of our father of the nation. And actually Bangladesh at present has really turned into a dazzling delta. I'll just quickly go through what other people are telling about Bangladesh. McKinsey and Company has said that Bangladesh is the next China. The 28th and 23rd largest economy of the world by 2030 and by 2041. This is PricewaterhouseCoopers. The JETRO says that we are the low-cost and high-return manufacturing destination in Asia, and Bangladesh will be the 12th economic power of the world by 2050, according to UBS. And Bangladesh is one of the frontier 5 economies, JP Morgan. And the next 11, Bangladesh among the 11 nations to have a high economic potential, Goldman Sachs. So, I now invite all of the people who are here in front of us, our audience, both from the American businessmen and also the Bangladeshi, non-resident Bangladeshi, the Bangladeshi American businessmen who are here, to come and invest in Bangladesh. I'll first give you a very brief overview of the economy of Bangladesh. Actually, in the last 10 years, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Bangladesh has reached a certain area, certain economic achievements which are actually absolutely unbelievable. Our GDP is now US $686 billion in purchasing power parity terms. Our share of investment to GDP is 30%. Our average GDP growth in the last 10 years has been 6 to 7%, but last year we achieved 8.13%. And this was the first time that was the highest growth rate in South Asia. And with achieving 8% last year, we were among 3 countries in the world to achieve the highest growth rate in the world. We beat India and China last year as far as the growth rate was concerned. Our exports have climbed to 37 billion in financial year 18 from 16 billion in financial year 10. So in 10 years, our exports actually more than doubled. Our GDP per capita, this figure is now outdated. It's mentioned $1,700. As of now, our GDP, last financial year, our GDP per capita GDP was $1,980. And next fiscal, we will be crossing the $2,000 mark for our per capita. Each year, Bangladesh is creating over 1.2 million jobs. But I think the most impressive achievement of Bangladesh, under dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has been the reduction of poverty rate. Our poverty rate has dropped to 24.36%, which is now actually down to 22% in 2017. In 2018, it has come down to 22%, while extreme poverty rate has gone down to 12.9% in 2017 from 44.2%. And in fact, our aim is that in this fiscal year, we want to drop our overall poverty rate down to below 18%. If we are able to succeed, then our poverty rate will be the same as that of the United States of America. The US poverty rate also now is around 17%. So that's basically our main aim. Whatever we are doing, all the actions which the government is doing, which has got only one main objective, and that is to lower the poverty rate. So that gives you a brief outline of the economy of Bangladesh. I'll just mention recently some key investments which have taken place in Bangladesh. Summit Corporation Limited, Mitsubishi and General Electric have invested $3 billion, making it the biggest ever private FDI in the power sector of Bangladesh. Japan Tobacco Company has invested $1.47 billion, the biggest ever single foreign direct investment in Bangladesh, where they have bought over an existing company. So the Akis, many of you are from Bangladesh, have heard of Akis Group. So Japan Tobacco has bought over Akis Group's tobacco business for $1.47 billion. The Shenzhen Stock Exchange and the Shanghai Stock Exchange have invested shares in the Dhaka Stock Exchange worth $1.1 billion. Alipay has bought 20% stakes in bKash, Bangladesh's largest mobile financial service. Alibaba has expanded its footprint in Bangladesh after it has snapped up an online marketplace, Garage. And Amazon and Walmart are planning to start operations in Bangladesh within the next couple of years. Quickly, just to tell you some of the countries which have already invested in Bangladesh. So on the western side, we have the USA, and then we have all the European companies, Sweden, UK, France, Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, UAE. And then from this side, we have China, UAE, Saudi Arabia, India, Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, Japan. I'll now very quickly tell you, list briefly 10 reasons why you should be investing in Bangladesh. First, Bangladesh is very open to inward investment. FDI inflows for current year 2018 is $3.61 billion, which is 67.9% higher compared to calendar year 2017 across diversified industry subsectors, despite a decline in total global FDI flow. So globally, there has been a decline in foreign direct investment flows, but in spite of that, in Bangladesh, we had a 67.9% increase over 17 calendar to 18 calendar. When I say we are open to inward investment, this slide is a bit cluttered. It gives you the areas where we are 100% foreign investment is allowed. In fact, I won't go through all the areas. I just quickly read them: energy, infrastructure, ICT. We've got power, economic zones, oil and gas. Then manufacturing, agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, textiles, basic chemicals, tourism, light engineering, some of these. But actually, instead of The better way of saying it is that nuclear power, security printing, and forestation. These are the only 3 areas where we don't allow foreign investment. Other than that, all the sectors are open to foreign investment, and foreigners can own 100% equity in their companies. This slide is an interesting slide. I just wanted to income is increasing. The middle and affluent class is increasing also. So according to, we have got 17 key MAC cities by the year 2020, by next year, and we'll have 33 key MAC cities by the year 2025, and 2 million population, MAC population are being added per annum. This is as per the Boston Consulting Group. In 2015, they gave these statistics from their research. We have a nationwide network of 1.3 million retail outlets, and it's a plain land delta. Because of that, it's very easy for distribution. And it's a small country, so distribution is easy. We have 700 plus rivers, so river transportation is important, as well as we have got roads connecting all the 492 upazilas, which are the sub-districts. And this is ensuring efficient source to delivery. So what I'm saying is that people who would like to invest in Bangladesh, you have a huge opportunity also in the domestic market of Bangladesh. And you can of course invest and manufacture in Bangladesh for export purposes. But the domestic market itself is very large. The other thing is the demographic dividend. This is something very interesting. In Bangladesh, the median age of the Bangladeshi citizen is only 26.7 years. So we have a young population, and 46.83 million people are less than 15 years old. These are the future workforce. And we have 118 million hardworking, tech-friendly working age population, and we have, which is very, very important. Compared to, even in South Asia, if you compare Bangladesh to other countries in South Asia, forgetting East Asian countries, we have a homogeneous culture. Bangladesh has a high degree of, we have got one language, one ethnicity, majority one religion, and we have, there is also between religions, we are a secular country, and between all other religions, there is absolute harmony, and we are very, very harmonious society and peaceful society. And that is why the fact that we have a young median age population, the workforce is there for future. Then if you invest in Bangladesh, that's going to be another big advantage. The other thing is the geographical position of Bangladesh. South Asia, we are in geostrategic gateway on South Asia. We are strategically placed in a manner where by investing in Bangladesh, you are getting access to over 2.9 billion consumers and a market of 8.53 trillion US dollars, because we are the gateway to both India and China, since that's where our location is. So that's the other area. Then we have, fifth reason is that we have preferential market access to many countries, and we are already exporting to a large number of countries, and some of the products I'll just mention quickly. We are first in the world in denim exports to EU market, second largest apparel exporter worldwide after China. We are the first in jute natural fiber production and export. We are the 8th largest exporter of the leather products in the world. And many of you will be surprised by this statistics that we are the 8th largest exporter of bicycles. I'm sure many of you didn't know that. The other thing is the infrastructure support. I'll take some time on this slide and just to tell you that under the last 10 years what we have done with the infrastructure support. The first and foremost, let me go to power and energy. When Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina came to power in 2009, Bangladesh's electricity production, energy generation was only a little over 3,000 megawatts. We used to have load sheddings, we used to have 14 hours a day there used to be load shedding. All the business and industry, everybody used to be the biggest problem was power. We did not have electricity. In 10 years time, from 3,000 megawatt, we are now producing 22,000 megawatts of and that has actually been the main driving force that has transformed Bangladesh. The fact that we have been able to achieve consistent 7% growth rate of the GDP, and we have now achieved 8% GDP last financial year. One of the main reasons is our success in the power sector. Then we had this infrastructure in the roads, railways, and we started doing the Podda Bridge. I'll just take 2-3 minutes of your time to mention about the Podda Bridge, which is a very interesting story I want to tell you. When the Podda Bridge was being done, it was a $2 billion project. It was sanctioned by the World Bank. And the World Bank gave a loan and said that yes, we will finance the Podda Bridge for $2 billion. All of a sudden, even before you could do the tender for the bridge was done, just by the time of the consultancy contract, at that time, the World Bank started saying that there has been corruption in the Podda Bridge, and they said that we will cancel the contract unless Bangladesh government takes certain steps. Honorable Prime Minister said that you cannot make allegations of corruption without evidence. And then she decided and she said that we will not take the loan from World Bank and that we will build the bridge with our own money. And many people were incredulous. They started laughing. They said, how can a poor country like Bangladesh build a bridge, such a big bridge of $2 billion with their own money? If you now go to Bangladesh, you will see that 50% of the bridge is already constructed, and inshallah, end of next year, the bridge will be open to the public. And we have done this with our own money. And in the meantime, in the High Court of Canada, where the allegations of corruption were agitated in the courts, 3 months ago, the Canadian High Court has given a judgment that there was absolutely no corruption in the This was just so this is just to give you that today Bangladesh is now, we are no longer considering that. Earlier it was always an idea that we have to be dependent on foreign aid, on foreign loans. Today we are completely self-sufficient. The last budget, which was announced in last June, for the first time, we have crossed 5,00,000 crores. I don't know, I'll have to convert it into dollars. I don't have that in mind, the figures right now, but that was a threshold which we needed to cross, which we have crossed. But what is interesting, that the foreign aid component of our total budget is only 2.3%. So more than 97%, the entire budget component is our own domestic resources. Another thing is that compared to other countries in South Asia, our foreign debt is the lowest. Our foreign debt to the GDP is the lowest compared to India, compared to Pakistan, compared to Sri Lanka, to all the countries, even compared to China and many other countries. The other thing which I want to talk about here is digital Bangladesh. As you can see, we have said 4G, 5G, and I've said Bangladesh has really now moved forward to digitalizing Bangladesh, and we are one of the few countries where we now have a fiber optic backbone laid up to the OPC level, and we are now going to the union level. In fact, only the last mile connection is what is now needed, otherwise the rest is all fiber optic. We have our own satellite. Recently we set up our own satellite, Bangabandhu 1, into space, and we are concentrating a lot on digital Bangladesh, on online services. A lot of government services are now online. Before, people had to come and do a lot of work manually. Now everything is being done online, digitally. And what we are actually doing, the reason why we have done this digital backbone, is that we are very conscious that soon we will have to face the challenge, like the entire world will have to face, is the challenge of the fourth industrial revolution. You know, the fourth industrial revolution is coming. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about quantum computing. We are talking of nanotechnology. We are talking, so this, the way technology is moving, and when this fourth industrial revolution which they are talking is, when this revolution when it comes, we have to be prepared to meet the challenges, because if we cannot meet those challenges, so in order to do that, we have created this digital backbone in the country, and we are now going, every primary school now has a computer lab, and we are giving free computers to at the primary level, so that children, when they are young only, they can start getting, they get computer literate, and they can start learning about computers, and so that we are able to. So this is something which we are doing very, very consciously, so that we can face this challenge when it comes up to. The other thing which so I've mentioned most of the last thing which I want to mention is what we have done is, you see, for us, land is very, very precious. It's a very small country, so for us, the most precious thing is land. And like I told you, that we have had a tremendous success in our agriculture. So we have to preserve agricultural land. Now, as you go for industrialization, there is always the danger that you will encroach onto the agricultural land if you don't do this in a planned manner. So what we have done is we are setting up 100 economic zones, special economic zones all over the country. And it will be in future only in these zones where we will allow industries to be established, thereby protecting our agriculture land. And these special industrial zones have actually been very successful. And we have 3 models for this, which Honorable Prime Minister herself did. And that was, one model is that if the government sets up everything, you come and set up your industry there. We'll give you the land and the infrastructure. The second model is that we'll give you only the land, you come and you set up everything, you set up the infrastructure and whatever, and then you can lease that land to other private companies as a business. And the third model is we are making country-specific economic zones. So China has already taken 2 very large pieces of economic zones. Japan has taken, South Korea has taken, India has taken. So these are country-specific economic zones where those countries are coming and investing only for their nationals. So that is the other thing which is, and then on the similar way we have the high-tech and software parks where we give the facilities, and we will be one of the first countries, we are planning already now, we will be one of the first countries in South Asia and East Asia to have 5G network as soon as the 5G comes up. So please, I'll not go very quickly. This is a low cost of doing business. If you compare water, electricity costs, it's cheapest in Bangladesh compared to many other countries. Then also workers' costs, manager's salary costs, these are also compared to Karachi, Mumbai, New Delhi, Hanoi, Bangkok, Manila, Kuala Lumpur, Beijing, Dhaka is the lowest. Then initiatives to foster competitiveness, we have taxes, there are tax holidays, tax concessions, avoidance of double tax. Financially, we have the cash incentive, we have got the Export Development Fund, Equity Interest Fund, accelerated depreciation, and we have got fast-track approval, citizenship, permanent residency, quick immigration, skilled work permits, NRV preferences, bonded warehouse, a lot of other incentives. These are both financial and other kind of incentives to foster competitiveness. We have, this is also this thing, we have, by law we have secured that your investment is fully protected. So it cannot be nationalized or expropriated by law. And local and foreign investments are given equal treatment. 100% foreign equity is allowed along with unrestricted exit. Almost all industrial sectors that I mentioned earlier are open for foreign investors. Bilateral investment treaties have been signed with 32 countries, double taxation treaties with 28 countries. Bangladesh is a signatory to ICSID, Unitrial, OPEC, MEGA, WIPO, and WTA. And all our laws and regulations are conducive to investment. And this I'll just take a little bit of time. You see, we have these various organizations which are directly under the Prime Minister's office. And as I'm the Prime Minister's advisor on private investment and industry, these agencies come under me, which is the Bangladesh Economic Zones Authority, BIDA, which is the Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, BEPSA, which is the Bangladesh Export Processing Zone Authority, PPP, which is the Public-Private Partnership Authority. Now, here what we have done is that we are doing a one-stop service under the BIDA framework. We have one platform. You can enter, go into the BIDA website, go into the one-stop service, and then from there you can go into any of these agencies which you prefer to invest in. This one-stop service will be fully operational by the end of the year. But just to give you one example which is already operational, is sitting in Los Angeles, if you wanted to form a company in Bangladesh, you just go into this one-stop service, into the registrar of joint stock. There are certain, you will get a checklist of the documents which need to be submitted. You scan the copy of those documents, you put it, you upload it online. They will give you a request for payment for the necessary fees. You can make the payment also online. Within 2 hours, you will get a company registration form from the registrar of joint stock company. This is already in operation, and we are doing this by the end of December. Like I said, the entire one-stop service which we are doing is going to be operational. The other thing which I wanted to mention over here was the ease of doing business. Bangladesh, the ease of doing business index, Bangladesh is not done well. We are in fact 176, which is very, very bad. So this year, after the new government was elected, Honorable Prime Minister said that our biggest priority should be that we must improve our ranking in the ease of doing business. We've been working on this. A lot of work has been done, and by in October they are going to issue the new ranking. We will definitely, because of the work already done, we will definitely, our ranking will improve. But next year, we have taken a full program that by next year our ease of doing ranking will come down to double digits. And for that we have to change a few laws. We are in the process of doing that. And so the last, and I think this is one of the most important reasons. I said I tell you 10 reasons why you should invest in Bangladesh. I think this is the most, and that is stability. One is that you have a business-friendly government. And you could not have a more business-friendly government than the one which we have now. The Honorable Prime Minister in the new cabinet, the Finance Minister is from the private sector. The Commerce Minister, the Industries Minister, which are the three main economic ministries: Commerce, Industry, Finance. All three ministers are from the private sector. In addition to that, we have the Health Minister, we have the Land Minister, we have the LGRD Minister. They are all from the private sector. And then she has created a new post with the rank of Minister for me as a private sector industry investment advisor. I'm also from the private sector. So actually, the present government of Bangladesh is really business friendly. And the second is that stable political environment. There is very few democratically elected governments which have come for third term, consecutive third term. So this government, for the third time, we have had Honorable Prime Minister has become Prime Minister through a democratic election, and that continuity brings the country stability, which is very important. And the last point is very, very important. Honorable Prime Minister has declared completely zero tolerance towards terrorism and drugs and corruption. And in the case of terrorism, as you know, we had an unfortunate incident with the Holy Artisan in 2014 it was. And after that, we have really gone zero tolerance and terrorism in Bangladesh compared to all other, even though we are a Muslim majority country, the way we have been able to control terrorism, even countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, India have still not been able to control the kind of terrorism the way we have been able to do it. And this is because of our zero tolerance policy towards towards terrorism as well as towards and now on corruption also. So these were my main reasons. I think I've taken a lot of time. I bored you, but anyhow, I'll finish now. So I'll very quickly go through. There are some mega projects which we have taken, just to give you an idea. We have so these are the we have the Padda Bridge which I mentioned to you. We have the Dhaka Metro Rail which is being constructed. We have the Rupur nuclear power plant. We have the Kannafuli underwater tunnel in Chittagong. We have the Rampal coal power plant, Matabari coal power plant. We have the Paira deep sea port, the Dhaka Chittagong expressway, and so these are some of the mega projects. And all of this has been due to because of our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's visionary leadership. And this has turned Bangladesh from a least developed country to a developing country. Our vision now is to transform Bangladesh into a developed country by 2041. And we are well on our path to do that. We are no longer considered, we ourselves now don't feel that we have to go out and seek foreign aid. What we are wanting now is foreign investment, and we are creating that environment. I'll just mention something what others are telling about Honorable Prime Minister. Forbes magazine has said that she is the 26th most powerful woman in the world. Top 100 global thinkers of the present decade by the Foreign Policy Journal, and noted on the list of 100 most influential people by Time magazine, and she's a member of the UN Council of Women World Leaders. And this is what she has in fact said. I quote from her that as we Bangladesh strive to materialize the goals of our Vision 2021 and Vision 2041, I request the international investors and entrepreneurs to partner with us in investment, trade, profit sharing and prosperity. So, I invite all of you once again to come to Bangladesh, and thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you. Question answers from there? Okay, I will do it. Okay, I've got some questions to answer, so let me. So, we have one question is, what about opportunities in telecom industry for 5G infrastructure and smartphone manufacturing opportunities for American companies in Bangladesh? Absolutely. Smartphone manufacturing has already started in Bangladesh. In fact, there are 2 or 3 companies which are manufacturing smartphones at very, very low cost. So, but it's a huge opportunity. Like I said, Bangladesh has one of the largest per capita use of mobile phones. So that's a big market. And you're most welcome. Anybody who would like to come and invest in both, and also in the 5G infrastructure. Like I said, that the digital infrastructure is in place. So you can come to this thing. You can meet me, you can come to BIDA, the Bangladesh, our Investment Development Authority, and we will put you in touch with the right people. As investor from USA, does a Bangladeshi American have any advantage over any other foreign investor? Well, not really, because we are treating all foreign investors equally. We don't want to discriminate between any investors. But I would say that a Bangladeshi American has a natural advantage, and that is that since you are from Bangladesh, or your origins are from Bangladesh, so you would be more comfortable in doing business in Bangladesh than somebody else. So you have a natural advantage. So I would actually welcome that you should come and invest in Bangladesh. How about Bangladesh-born American citizens? Are children whose nationality as US citizen? No, that we have dual nationality. The dual nationality is there. You can get that if you want. Okay, then we have. Is investment safe in Bangladesh? How can we bring money legally into US? Yes, of course, like I mentioned to you, the money of course is safe in the sense that we are guaranteeing by law that no investment can be nationalized. And as far as, we also guarantee you that on your investments, whatever profits which you make, you can remit the profits freely out of Bangladesh. You can bring back the country legally out of Bangladesh. All profits can be remitted, and also all capital gains. So if you make an investment in Bangladesh and then you decide to exit, and you go and then sell that business and you make a capital gain on that, that also you can move freely. Would you please reflect on tax advantage or tax credit policy of investing and exporting from Bangladesh? Yes, on certain areas in tax, you have got, like I mentioned, there are many different fiscal programs. You've got tax holidays. There are certain sectors where you get tax holidays for a very long term. There are some areas where you get tax holidays for short term. So there are many tax fiscal advantages and tax advantages which you will get if you, and more details if you want, you can ask specific questions which can be answered later. What is the current government policy to have the NRPs to invest in fixed deposit instruments such as fixed deposit of CDs and able to receive the interest income in US dollars? Very good question. What we are doing now, at the moment you can open an NRB bank account and you can invest in that, and you can also get fixed deposit in foreign currency. That is already in place. But we are going one step further, and it will happen very soon, is that we are going to issue a NRB foreign exchange bond. So that NRBs can purchase bonds which will be denominated both in US dollars as well in takas. So you can buy a taka bond or a foreign exchange bond. This will be happening very shortly. We need to set some certain regulation and laws have to be enacted. Those are being done. And in fact, the new foreign minister, finance minister, is very keen that we should also open up the bond market. So this is going to happen, especially targeting non-resident Bangladeshis. Global services, attorneys, statistics of food production, however, corruption in food production, especially processed food, has already earned huge bad names. Such corruption is very imperative. What initiative taken from the ground? This again is a very good question. What has happened, unfortunately, is that we have had some food. There has been some major misunderstanding on the food processing, which we have had this bad publicity in these last few. You see, our law is very, very clear, and that has not been interpreted properly by the authorities. You have to have a differentiation between one food is what is called adulterated food, and one is that a certain batch is below the acceptable standards. So let us say you are supposed to have you have a level of a standard that it should be 8 and it has been found 9, so then that batch has to be rejected and that batch should be withdrawn from the market. And that is happening all over the world. But that is not adulterated food. Adulterated food is that when you are actually going and mixing something which is not actually supposed to be in that food. So this difference is what we have now started doing. As we know, we have started, our standards have been raised now. A lot of inspection is being taken place and we are sitting down with industry. In fact, just before I left Bangladesh, we had an interministerial meeting with the entire food large companies, and we are solving the problem. It is not, some of it has been exaggerated in the press. It hasn't been. I'll give you one example. They went and they said that the pH level in salt, now there are some, I think there is a pharmacist, a gentleman who I met here. Now a pH level in salt is not a very serious parameter. In fact, we don't test pH for salt. But this over-enthusiastic inspector, he went and he said that, well, we found the pH level in salt at 98 and therefore it is. And so everybody got the impression that that entire salt is bad. That was not the case. So that also, there has been some cases of over-enthusiasm from our inspectors also. So we are addressing of it. I think pretty soon this problem will be resolved. We are holding dual citizenship. Can we get help from the bank as an investor, and how about taxes? Yes, definitely. You can get help from the banks. If you are a dual, why not only dual citizenship, even as a foreign, if you invest in Bangladesh and you want to borrow locally with the banks, you can do that. And about the taxes, I think I've already answered the question. So I think that takes care of all the questions. Yes, you more? Thank you. They are in a situation where they have made an investment and they are facing issues or problems with that investment. We will definitely try to assist you and see how we can solve your problem. Okay, this is also a very important, very good question. Your slide shows Bangladesh has the lowest labor cost. However, the unit production cost infrastructure project is the highest in Bangladesh compared to other South Asian countries. Why? You see, this question has been asked to me many times. The problem is that you cannot, whenever you are comparing infrastructure costs, you have to compare apple to apple. The problem is you are not comparing apple to apple. In Bangladesh, when you are building a road, because Bangladesh is a delta land, to build a road you first have to raise the ground. And the land filling cost is huge compared to if you were to build a road in Los Angeles. Because in Los Angeles you have got high land. You just go there, you don't have any land filling cost. You just build a road over here. You go to China or you go to Pakistan, or even in India, building a road in India and building a road in Bangladesh is completely different, two different ball games completely. Yes, West Bengal and Bangladesh, it's a similar terrain. So you want to compare whether my cost is higher than in West Bengal or not, then I would answer your this thing. But what people are doing is they are comparing cost infrastructure projects is the highest in the world is against a very, very broad statement. That it is highest in the world. I don't accept that it is the highest in the world. It depends on what you are comparing and what is your basis of your testing. But you have to keep in mind that in Bangladesh, developing infrastructure is very difficult because of basically the terrain. We are a low-lying country, so anything we have to do, we have to first raise it above the flood levels, and that involves a lot of cost. So I think, is that okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. That was a beautiful, beautiful presentation. The slides were impeccable and you presented it very nicely. It was informative, educative, and entertaining. Thank you indeed. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 special guests this evening. First to appear would be Mason Yost. Mason is an attorney and runs his own law firm here in Los Angeles. During his 25 years of practicing law, he has traveled to Bangladesh 10 times and have been involved in a variety of projects. In tonight's seminar, he will speak for US-Bangladesh Business Forum, USBBF. The forum was launched in 2006, and their mission is to promote, foster, and advance business and entrepreneurship between the United States and Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mason Yost.
Thank you, Al Moon, and I want to thank the Consul General for inviting me to be with you this evening. It's a real honor. As Al Moon indicated, I've been practicing law here actually for over 30 years now, and I've made 11 trips to Bangladesh. Back in 2001, I was actually training for the Los Angeles Marathon race in Griffith Park, and one of my fellow runners came up next to me, and I didn't know him at all, and he said, are you a lawyer? I said, yeah. And he said, my name is Mohammed, I'm from Bangladesh. And that was the first person I met. That was Mohammed Alam, who I've known for 18 years now. We affectionately call him Babu. So I actually went to his wedding a few years later in Queens, New York, and actually 2 years later in 2003, Babu's brother and I, who's interestingly, his name is Al Moon, we made our first trip to Bangladesh, where I participated in the U.S. trade show at the Sheraton in Dhaka, co-sponsored by the U.S. Trade Center at the American Embassy and AmCham, the American Chamber of Commerce. and I've gone back 10 times since, and it's been a real privilege. I'm finding out when I talk to my Bangladeshi friends that I think I've been around Bangladesh more than a lot of the natives have. Just off the top of my head, I've made several trips to Chittagong, 3 trips to Cox's Bazar. When I was in Cox's Bazar, we toured Moash Kali Island, Shonadian Island, went to Inani Beach, Kamchari. I've been to Jashore, Shatkhira, the American Hospital in Malta, south of Shatkhira, and of course I've ridden the roller coaster at Fantasy Kingdom and gone to Shabar and seen the National Monument there, and took the overnight steamer from Dhaka to Barisal and back. And I've always been really welcomed by Bangladeshi people. As our honored guest indicated, it is truly an excellent place to do business. For Westerners, it's not necessarily an easy place. You should always have either a sponsor or a friend, someone on the ground. I had a colleague from Indonesia who heard there were good opportunities in Bangladesh, went there on his own, not knowing anyone, thinking he could just go to the airport and grab a cab and go to his hotel. And as you know, it's not that simple. But if you have some patience and some perseverance and are willing to take a little bit of risk, there are tremendous opportunities there. I realize I'm preaching to the choir here. Most of you here are either you're from Bangladesh or your parents were, and you know what I'm talking about. But from a Westerner's point of view, I found Bangladesh to be very welcoming. I was able to go into people's homes and enjoy meals, and our honored guest alluded to this, and I just want to mention it also, that when Feroz Fakhri, who many of you know, founded the US BBF back in 2006 and asked some of us, primarily Bangladeshi Americans here in the Los Angeles area, to participate, one of the things that occurred to me, and it's proven true, is that when you have a Muslim majority country that is so friendly to the United States, thank you. There's no better way to combat terrorism than to do business together. And when Westerners and the Muslim majority countries are in a mutually beneficial relationship where trade is taking place, when the political tensions come, it's the business people who will go to the politicians and say, don't mess up what I've got, this good thing I've got going here. Figure out the problems, work it out, because, you know, it's my livelihood. And you multiply that by hundreds of thousands of people doing business, and that results in peace. And so the U.S. Bangladesh Business Forum is promoting that. It's promoting people based here in the United States doing business in Bangladesh, back and forth. As the honored guest indicated, it's getting easier and easier to set up a company in Bangladesh and to have this symbiotic relationship between the West, in this case the United States, and Bangladesh. I thank you for this opportunity to be here. I want you to know that the U.S. Bangladesh Business Forum website is at usbbf.org. You can take a look there. We sponsor seminars, trade meetings, bringing in special guests, and fostering business to help people who want to do business and hopefully make the world a little better place. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mason. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now invite Norman Arikawa. Norman has worked at the Port of Los Angeles for over 35 years and is currently the Assistant Director of Trade Development for the port. His responsibilities include promotion of the port and to develop inbound and outbound trade. Mr. Arikawa has helped to develop a program to outreach to small and medium businesses that promotes export opportunities and to educate them on the available resources for exporting, called Trade Connect. Mr. Arikawa has served as co-chairperson of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce Global Initiative Committee. He is also currently a member of the District Export Council of the Southern California by appointment of the Secretary of Commerce and serves on the Board of Directors of the Los Angeles Regional Export Council. Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Arikawa before you.
Good evening, everyone. It's certainly an honor for me to be here. I really appreciate the Consul General invited me to be here tonight, and I will tell you, I was very impressed with the presentation of our special guest this evening. As I will explain, the real focus of the work that I do here at the Port of Los Angeles is to organize workshops where we actually train companies how to export. And in the course of that discussion, we get involved with many countries because many businesses look all over the world. But I certainly am going to highly suggest to many of our student companies that they look at Bangladesh as an area to really consider. I was truly impressed with all the information that I heard tonight, and I think we're going to also make a personal effort to try to work closer with the Bangladesh business community, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have Raymond.
Respected Honorable Member of Parliament, our pride, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, all the guests present here, and all my brother and sister. I cannot be more proud today standing here, hearing what Bangladesh has achieved. Bangladesh is rising, and Bangladesh is rising because people like Mr. Salman Rahman and people like great leaders like our Netri and many other people. I think the way this presentation has been done, the substance of the presentation, the delivery of the presentation, and person who spoke about the presentation, don't you think we should give him a standing ovation for Salman Rahman? Can you do that? One word I want to say, because everybody is tired, it takes a long time, I want to give a lecture. But personally, I feel proud to have a person like this representing, coming and talking to you about achievement and goal and the road ahead about Bangladesh. So I must say that Bangladesh on the rise, and we all should do our part. Kennedy once said, don't say what country has done for you. You should do what for the country and what is required. So with this, on behalf of everybody in Los Angeles, Southern California, whole United States, whole North America, on behalf of everybody, and particularly a very strong group from Los Angeles, and our great Consul General has done a great job organizing this. I want to stand up here and thank you, sir. Salam, adab, and best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that was the last event of the day. We will now all have dinner, table by table. First to go would be the dignitaries. First to go would be the dignitaries in the days, and table 3. Others, please have patience.